What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today, I've got another underused match. I am using the same team as I was in the previous video. Wanted to get some more use out of these dudes. But anyway, looking at my opponent's team, he's definitely got some solid threats. The main things that I am worried about are the Mineshow. He's got the Primarina, who could be problematic. I don't have a whole lot of switch-ins to a Choice Specs Hydro Pump or Moonblast. He's also got a Latias and even a Venomoth, so I gotta kind of worry about getting Quiver Danced on. But anyway, this is looking like a pretty difficult matchup for my team. I'm going to have to make sure that I conserve Steelix for a couple of the threats, along with Choice Band Azelf. If I can get this thing to do some work, I'll be pretty stoked about it. It is in a pretty solid speed tier, so it should be faster than a lot of things unless they're Choice Scarf. But anyway, let's go ahead and just get into the action. So my plan was just to lead off with Azelf, get a nice little Choice Banded U-turn, and get a matchup. I expected him to probably want to lead off with his Aerodactyl just for rocks, so I throw out my little Pixie dude as he actually ends up leading off with his Mineshow. So here's where it actually is a pretty pivotal point in the match here, as he actually goes for the U-turn first. That tells me that he is Choice Scarfed because he doesn't naturally outspeed Azelf, so that's going to do a whole lot of damage to me, which is unfortunate. I guess the good news that does come out of this is that I get to U-turn second, so that allows me to bring in whatever matchup I want against his Aerodactyl. So I'm assuming he just brought this thing in to try to set up some rocks, so I go for a U-turn of my own. Azelf is looking pretty damn hurt right off the bat here, so that's kind of unfortunate, but thing's not supposed to be taking hits anyway, so it doesn't really matter what amount of HP he's at, as this allows me to bring in Rick, my Starmie, who is kind of just going to scare this thing out with a nice little Scald. I just decided to play it safe here, as he's actually just going to go right into his Primarina, as I am actually going to get a nice little Scald burn on Sweetie over here, which is it's not too big of a deal, but being able to get some chip damage every turn is pretty nice to whittle this thing down. So, as I'm looking at the matchup here, I was doing some damage calcs against Specs Primarina, and HP invested Starmie can actually take a Moonblast from this thing, so that's what I expect, as he actually ends up going straight for the Hydro Pump. Does connect on it, it does over half to me, which is pretty bad, but as I'm looking at it here, I can just go for the recover, stall this thing out for a couple more burn turns, and then a Psyshock should be able to do the trick here. So I'm actually just going to go for the recover here, see what he wants to go for, kind of expecting a switch potentially, as he actually ends up just staying in and going for another Hydro Pump, does not miss, which is unfortunate for me. But yeah, so Starmie's just getting blasted in the face with some Hydro Pump. I guess Starmie actually doesn't really have a face, but got blasted right in the gem, I guess. Anyway, after leftovers, I'm above half, which is pretty cool. And at this point, I'm just going to go straight for a Psyshock to try to finish this thing off. If I could get rid of it, that would have been pretty sweet early on, but he's actually going to make the play into his shiny-ass Latias, who comes out nice and gold here. And obviously, Psyshock isn't going to do a whole lot of damage to this thing. I kind of expected to switch into this, but it's not really the end of the world. I wish this Starmie had Ice Beam. That would be a nice play there. But so at this point, Starmie is looking really useful. So I'm going to go ahead and switch into my Conkeldurr. The reason for that is because I know that I can take a Draco Meteor from this thing, and then I could be able to live another one after the special attack drop, but he actually misses the first one, which is quite unfortunate for him. I'm just going to go for a knockoff now, trying to land it on the whatever he wants to bring in, as he ends up going into the Swampert. I end up getting a critical hit too, which is pretty nice. Smack that thing in the face with a nice little Cinder Block, and gets a chunk of damage there, as he's actually just going to set up Stealth Rock. I'm not really too worried about rocks on this team. Darmanitan kind of doesn't really like him, but I do have Rapid Spin on my Starmie. But anyway, I decided to just go for the Drain Punch against the Swampert. I knew he was probably going to want to set up rocks. It was kind of a free attack for me there, as now he's just going to go for an Earthquake. I am max HP, max attack, and Assault Vested. I take that Earthquake relatively nicely, and that allows me to go for one more Drain Punch, which is going to finish off the Swampert and get me back to a solid amount of health here, as I don't have to worry about Swampert anymore, which is pretty fantastic. Didn't have a whole lot for that thing, but it wasn't too big of a deal. So now he's going to bring right back in the freaking Sweetie, and at this point I don't really have any switches into a Specs Moonblast. So as I was looking at the matchup, I figure I could probably just decide to sack off Conkeldurr here. Wasn't looking too useful for the remainder of the match, so I kind of had to do it there. Somebody was going to die. Moonblast is just too powerful, especially with Specs Primarina. But anyway, I'm just going to bring right back in Rick, who's at about half health after the Stealth Rock damage. I'm just going to go for a Psyshock, as he's going to make the play right back into the Latias yet again, as after running some calcs, I know that I'm going to be faster, so I go for the Psyshock here. I know that I can be able to get a recover off after this next turn, which will put me at about full HP. And then as I was looking at it, I should be able to live a Draco Meteor, depending on what kind of Latias this is. So I go for the recover just to kind of scout out here. It's going to bring me back to full, as he does end up going for the Draco Meteor, which is perfect because after this Draco Meteor, he is going to get that special attack drop, which does hurt him pretty bad. So I'm able to live it with 16 HP, which is fantastic. and then I'm going to be able to like kind of recover off some damage if I need to. Starmie's just recovering up a damn storm today. That's kind of like the theme of this battle. But yeah, so he does have to switch out here, expecting probably some type of recover. He is going to make the nice play into his Mineshaw, who is Choice Scarfed, which we did see earlier. And this is kind of the main thing that I am worried about on his team right now, is this Scarfed Mineshaw. High jump kick kind of fucks up a lot of the stuff on my team, along with knockoff and all that. So as I was looking at the matchup here, I decided to kind of risk it. I stayed in, which was a bad play. The knockoff is going to take care of Starmie, which is pretty damn unfortunate. Starmie was looking really useful. I don't know, I think I was expecting a U-turn, kind of expecting a switch there, but now I'm able to go into orbit, ready to bring the power of the motherfucking gravity on this ass, as I go ahead and Mega Evolve. He does have to switch. He is Choice Scarfed into knockoff. He obviously can't knock off my Mega Stone, so I go ahead and Mega Evolve here, get all badass, bring out the motherfucking Golden Jaw, as he does bring in the Latias, and this thing is about to catch a whole lot of golden metal to the face here, as I go for the Heavy Slam. And I am way too damn heavy for that thing, as that is going to kill the Latias, which is fantastic. So that thing's out of the way, pretty big threat. And unfortunately, he does still have Primarina's bitch ass around, so I can't let Orbit take a Hydro Pump to the face. So I do have to switch out here. I'm going to go into my Azelf, hoping that I end up getting a miss here, as anyway, I just kind of wanted to sack this thing off to be able to bring in whatever. So he does actually connect on the Hydro Pump, which does kind of suck. Hydro Pump never hits for me, but it seems like whenever my opponents use it, hits every time. So that sucks. I lose my Azelf, didn't really get to do anything with that guy, as this does allow me to bring in Kingpin the Nidoking, as I can scare this thing out, and his team is looking pretty weak to electric, so I'm just going to go for a Thunderbolt as he switches into his Aerodactyl. So Pharaoh comes out here, hasn't done a whole lot either. He actually only took like a U-turn from Azelf, brings out the pressure, but a Thunderbolt is going to be able to take this thing out. So that's pretty cool. Aerodactyl is gone, and it's coming down pretty much to the wire here, as he only has his Primarina, his Mineshaw, and then this freaking Venomoth. So he brings out the Moth of Death here, as I'm just going to stay in here and try to get as much damage with Earth Power as possible. I know he's going to go for the Sleep Powder, so that's kind of a free attack there. I don't have anything else that wants to be put to sleep, so at this point, I know he's going to definitely try to Quiver Dance on me, and my plan is to go into my Mega Steelix, considering this thing probably doesn't have a whole lot of attacks to hit me with. I should be fine with this matchup here, so I bring out the Orbit, as this thing is going to go for the Quiver Dance. Got a Dancing Moth out here. And honestly, Venomoth is nothing to play games with. I have nightmares about this damn moth, honestly. But so he gets up a Quiver Dance, and at this point I'm like, you know, okay, I'm max HP, I'm like max physical defense. I wish I had some special investment in there, but he's gonna bust out the Bugnium Z, and he's gonna Savage Spin out all up on my ass. So he unleashes that, and running damage calcs, he actually is able to get a one-hit KO as long as I don't have a significant special defense investment, because he is using the Bug Buzz slot. So that is going to actually take out my Steelix. I did not expect that initially, but now I've gained way more respect for Venomoth, and that really does kind of suck, as at least I do still have Scarfed Darmanitan here, who is still able to outspeed, and I can finish this thing off with an Earthquake. But after, you know, hindsight's 2020, but as I was looking at it, after the Nidoking got Sleep Powdered, I knew he was going to Quiver Dance, so I really should have switched into Darmanitan initially, but honestly, I just thought that Steelix was going to be able to handle the matchup there. But look at this thing's face of death. Tell me that thing's not scary as hell. But anyway, he brings in the Mineshaw. I know it's Choice Scarfed, obviously. I'm Scarfed as well, but Darmanitan does not have enough speed to be able to be faster. All I can really do here is bring in the Kingpin to take a high jump kick. I actually live it with a critical hit, and he is going to be able to finish me off with one more of those. Unfortunately, doesn't get the miss. I guess the only thing I could really hope for there was the miss and then the wake up, but that is going to be a dead Nidoking there, unfortunately. And at this point, all I can really do is bring in my Darmanitan. I know that I am slower, obviously, but all I can really do here is just go for the Flare Blitz. His last Pokemon remaining is the Primarina, so he brings in Sweetsy on a nice little Flare Blitz here, and I actually do end up knocking this thing out. I'm assuming he decided to switch there just so he didn't have to remain locked into high jump kick. He can really hit me with anything and end up getting the kill, so I assume he just probably didn't want to risk the high jump kick miss there. So I do at least get to kill the Primarina, which is awesome, because that thing's just a big old pain in the ass. But he brings right back in the floppy hands, and a knockoff is going to be able to take care of Darmanitan, and that is going to be the match there, guys. So that was a pretty interesting match. Definitely caught me off guard there with the Bugnium Z Venomoth. Those things are freaking beasts, but I thought that was a pretty fun match. I'm having fun with this team, and that was a pretty good one. So go ahead and don't forget to hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed. Also, subscribe for some more Wi-Fi battles, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.